What if a single, simple addition to your daily diet could meaningfully improve both your reproductive health and your sexual performance? Imagine that something as ordinary and accessible as a handful of nuts might influence one of the most complex and vital systems of the human body. For centuries, cultures around the world have associated nuts with virility, energy, and life. Today, modern science is uncovering evidence that supports much of that ancient wisdom, showing that these small natural foods may indeed play a significant role in fertility, sperm quality, and erectile function. To understand how and why this occurs, we must explore not only what nuts contain, but also how the body's reproductive system depends on vascular integrity, hormonal balance, and cellular protection, each of which nuts seem uniquely capable of supporting. Fertility is one of the most intricate expressions of health. It depends on a finely tuned interplay between hormones, nutrients, circulation, and cellular resilience. In men, sperm cells represent the biological outcome of months of coordinated development in the testes, where they rely on an optimal environment for growth and maturation. Even subtle disruptions in this environment, through oxidative stress, inflammation, nutritional deficiency, or metabolic imbalance, can alter sperm count, shape, or motility. The modern world, with its dietary excesses, sedentary lifestyle, and chronic stress, is not kind to this delicate process. That is why research into nutritional interventions has gained importance. Scientists are investigating whether specific foods might restore balance and enhance reproductive potential. In 2024, researchers conducted a systematic review and meta-analysis examining the relationship between nut consumption and fertility outcomes. The analysis drew from 4 high-quality studies involving a total of 875 participants aged between 18 and 49 years. 2 of these were randomized controlled trials, the gold standard in scientific research, while the remaining 2 were observational studies. Across all of them, participants consumed nuts daily for roughly 3 months, allowing sufficient time to observe measurable changes in sperm health. The findings were striking. In the controlled trials, men who incorporated nuts into their daily diet demonstrated a 51% increase in sperm motility, a 54% improvement in morphology, and a 61% enhancement in vitality. These figures, while impressive, also invite a deeper question. What mechanisms could possibly link such a simple dietary choice to profound biological outcomes? Nuts are extraordinarily nutrient-dense. Beneath their modest shells lies a reservoir of compounds known to support cellular and vascular health. They are abundant in monosaturated and polyunsaturated fatty acids, particularly omega-3s, which play a critical role in maintaining membrane fluidity. For sperm cells, whose ability to swim and penetrate the egg depends on the integrity of their membranes, these fats are essential. Omega-3s have also been linked to improved hormonal signaling and reduced inflammation, both of which influence sperm production and function. Moreover, nuts are rich sources of antioxidants such as vitamin E, polyphenols, and selenium. These molecules help neutralize reactive oxygen species and stable compounds that can damage sperm DNA, impair motility, and reduce fertility potential. In an environment where oxidative stress is rampant, whether from pollution, smoking, poor diet, or age, antioxidants act as the body's shield, protecting reproductive cells from harm. Beyond fats and antioxidants, nuts deliver a variety of micronutrients crucial to reproductive biology. They provide magnesium, zinc, and folate, associated with sperm count, testosterone synthesis, and overall fertility. Zinc, for example, participates directly in the formation of sperm chromatin, the tightly packed DNA within sperm heads, and is vital for the stability of genetic material. Magnesium contributes to energy metabolism within cells, ensuring that sperm have the motile power to reach and fertilize an egg. Folate supports DNA replication and repair, preventing errors that might compromise fertility. When consumed together, as they naturally occur in nuts, these nutrients create a biochemical synergy, a nutritional matrix that fortifies the reproductive system on multiple levels. The glycemic index of nuts is also remarkably low, meaning that they do not trigger sharp increases in blood sugar. This feature may seem unrelated to fertility at first glance, yet metabolic health and reproductive capacity are intimately connected. High blood sugar and insulin resistance, common features of metabolic syndrome, can disrupt hormonal balance, elevate oxidative stress, and impair the delicate feedback loops that regulate sexual function. By stabilizing blood glucose levels, nuts indirectly support hormonal equilibrium and vascular health, two pillars upon which fertility depends. Different types of nuts have been studied for their specific effects. Walnuts, for instance, are particularly rich in alpha-linolenic acid, an omega-3 fatty acid associated with improved sperm morphology. In one study, men who consumed 75 grams of walnuts daily for 12 weeks exhibited substantial improvements in sperm parameters compared to those who avoided nuts. Another trial used a mix of walnuts, almonds, and hazelnuts 30, 15, and 15 grams respectively over 14 weeks, yielding similar benefits in sperm vitality and motility. Such consistency across studies strengthens the argument that nuts are not merely passive calorie sources, but biologically active foods with measurable effects on reproduction. The conversation, however, does not end with fertility. Erections, often considered a purely mechanical process, are, in fact, an elegant vascular event governed by blood flow, nerve signaling, and chemical mediators. At the center of this process lies nitric oxide, a molecule produced by the lining of blood vessels. Nitric oxide relaxes smooth muscles, allowing blood to fill the penile tissue and create an erection. Any condition that impairs nitric oxide production or damages the vascular endothelium can lead to erectile dysfunction. Here again, nuts appear to exert a beneficial influence. They contain arginine, an amino acid that serves as the direct precursor to nitric oxide. By increasing the availability of arginine, nuts help sustain the chemical pathways that promote vasodilation and enhance blood flow. Several small but intriguing studies have explored this connection. In one, 17 men with erectile difficulties consumed 100 grams of pistachios daily for 3 weeks. The results revealed improved erectile function, higher sexual satisfaction, and better penile blood flow as measured by Doppler ultrasound. Another trial involving 83 healthy men found that after 14 weeks of eating a mixture of walnuts, almonds, and hazelnuts, participants reported greater orgasmic function and sexual desire compared to those who avoided nuts. Although these sample sizes were modest and participants relatively young, the biological plausibility of the findings lends them credibility. Improvements in vascular function and antioxidant status are well-established consequences of nut consumption in broader cardiovascular research, so it is logical that these benefits would extend to sexual performance as well. From a physiological perspective, the overlap between cardiovascular and erectile health is substantial. The penile arteries are among the smallest in the body, meaning that any systemic vascular dysfunction, whether due to high cholesterol, hypertension, or diabetes, often manifests their first. Erectile dysfunction can therefore be an early warning sign of cardiovascular disease. By enhancing endothelial function, reducing oxidative stress, and improving lipid profiles, nuts may support not only sexual performance, but also long-term cardiovascular protection. Studies in the general population have consistently shown that regular nut consumption is associated with lower rates of heart disease, reduced inflammation, and improved blood vessel elasticity. These same mechanisms contribute to sustained erectile function. To understand the full significance of this, one must appreciate the interconnectedness of bodily systems. Fertility, sexual health, and cardiovascular function are not isolated phenomena. They reflect the overall state of metabolic and vascular health. A diet that nourishes the heart tends to nourish reproductive capacity as well. Conversely, lifestyle factors that damage vessels, smoking, obesity, poor nutrition, chronic stress undermine both. The research on nuts underscores this principle. A food long known for heart benefits now appears to exert parallel advantages on reproductive physiology. The biochemical interactions within this process are intricate yet elegant. When a person consumes nuts, the unsaturated fats improve lipid profiles by raising high-density lipoprotein cholesterol and lowering low-density lipoprotein cholesterol. This shift reduces vascular inflammation and supports endothelial cells, the very cells responsible for releasing nitric oxide. The antioxidants in nuts, including vitamin E and polyphenols, further protect these cells from oxidative damage. Together, these effects maintain vessel flexibility and responsiveness, attributes critical for achieving and sustaining erections. In the reproductive organs, improved circulation ensures that the testes receive adequate oxygen and nutrients, fostering optimal sperm production. Beyond direct nutrient effects, nuts influence signaling pathways that regulate inflammation and gene expression. Certain polyphenols activate transcription factors that upregulate antioxidant enzymes, enhancing the body's intrinsic defense mechanisms. Others modulate nitric oxide synthase, the enzyme responsible for producing nitric oxide. Some evidence even suggests that compounds in nuts may positively affect testosterone metabolism, though this area requires further research. What is clear is that nuts act at multiple levels: molecular, cellular, and systemic, to create an internal environment conducive to reproductive vitality. Of course, no single food can substitute for an overall healthy lifestyle. The benefits observed in these studies are most meaningful when viewed as part of a broader pattern of wellness. Diet, exercise, sleep, and stress management form the foundation upon which specific nutritional interventions rest. For example, regular physical activity increases testosterone levels and improves vascular responsiveness, amplifying the effects of a nutrient-rich diet. Adequate sleep maintains hormonal balance, while chronic stress and elevated cortisol can suppress reproductive hormones. Thus, the inclusion of nuts should be seen as one piece of a holistic approach rather than a magic solution. It is also essential to recognize the limitations of existing research. The trials demonstrating improvements in fertility and erectile function involved relatively small groups, often composed of healthy young men. Whether the same results would occur in older individuals or those with underlying medical conditions remains to be confirmed. Moreover, not all nuts are nutritionally identical. Walnuts excel in omega-3 content, almonds in vitamin E, pistachios in arginine and antioxidants, while hazelnuts provide unique phenolic compounds. A diverse intake is therefore preferable, ensuring exposure to the full spectrum of beneficial nutrients. Moderation is equally important. Nuts are energy-dense, and excessive consumption can lead to caloric surplus if not balanced within the diet. Nonetheless, the evidence to date paints a compelling picture. A daily serving of 60 to 75 grams of mixed nuts, roughly a handful, appears to improve multiple markers of reproductive and vascular health. The time frame for noticeable effects, based on studies, ranges from 3 to 14 weeks. Such changes are neither instant nor superficial. They reflect deep physiological adaptations in response to consistent nutritional support. For couples seeking natural ways to enhance fertility, or for individuals aiming to improve sexual vitality without medication, this represents a safe, accessible strategy grounded in biological logic. The story of nuts and human health also carries a broader lesson about nutrition science itself. Too often, modern diets focus on macronutrients, carbohydrates, proteins, fats, while neglecting the complex phytochemicals and micronutrients found in whole foods. Nuts exemplify how nature packages multiple health-promoting compounds in one form: healthy fats, antioxidants, vitamins, minerals, and bioactive molecules working together. The synergy among these elements cannot easily be replicated by supplements or isolated extracts. When consumed as part of a balanced diet rich in fruits, vegetables, and whole grains, nuts contribute to a symphony of nourishment that supports every system in the body. The psychological and social dimensions of sexual health also merit consideration. Sexual performance and fertility are deeply tied to self-esteem, relationships, and emotional well-being. Nutritional interventions that improve these outcomes can thus have far-reaching benefits beyond biology. When a person feels more energetic, confident, and balanced, those improvements ripple through every aspect of life. The simplicity of eating a handful of nuts each day contrasts sharply with the complexity of modern medical treatments, yet it aligns perfectly with preventive health philosophy. Small, consistent actions yielding profound, cumulative results. Furthermore, the cultural symbolism of nuts as fertility enhancers, present in many ancient traditions, gains new relevance through scientific validation. From Persian customs of offering nuts to newlyweds to Mediterranean diets celebrated for longevity and reproductive vigor, history intuitively recognized what research now confirms: the nutrients that protect seeds in nature, ensuring their ability to sprout life mirror the nutrients that support human reproduction. There is poetry in that parallel, a reminder that our physiology remains deeply connected to the natural world. Future research will undoubtedly expand upon these findings, exploring how nut consumption interacts with other dietary components, genetic factors, and lifestyle variables. Larger, longer-term trials could clarify optimal doses, identify which subgroups benefit most, and determine whether improvements in sperm quality translate directly to higher conception rates. Studies on women's fertility may also reveal additional effects, given that antioxidants and healthy fats are equally vital for egg quality and hormonal balance. What remains beyond dispute is that the inclusion of nuts contributes to a pattern of eating consistent with global health recommendations, a pattern emphasizing whole, minimally processed plant foods as the cornerstone of vitality. In practical terms, incorporating nuts requires no complex strategy. They can be eaten raw or lightly roasted, sprinkled on salads, blended into smoothies, or enjoyed as snacks. The key lies in regularity rather than occasional indulgence. Consistency allows the nutrients to exert their cumulative effects, just as inconsistency undermines them. For individuals concerned about calorie intake, portion control is simple: a closed handful or roughly 60 grams per day. Combined with hydration, exercise, and balanced meals, this modest practice can yield remarkable dividends over time. It is also worth noting that the benefits extend far beyond fertility and erections. The same nutritional qualities that enhance reproductive and vascular health also contribute to brain function, immune defense, and longevity. Nuts have been associated with reduced risk of type 2 diabetes, lower inflammation markers, and improved cognitive performance. These outcomes are interrelated. A healthy body supports healthy sexuality, and vice versa. In that sense, the discussion of nuts transcends reproductive health and becomes a model for understanding how comprehensive nutrition sustains human flourishing. To appreciate the subtlety of these interactions, consider again the role of nitric oxide. This molecule not only mediates erections but also regulates blood pressure, neurotransmission, and immune responses. When nuts boost nitric oxide production through arginine and antioxidant pathways, they are enhancing a system that governs multiple organ networks simultaneously. Similarly, when antioxidants in nuts reduce oxidative stress in sperm, they also protect endothelial cells, neurons, and mitochondrial DNA. Nutrition operates not through isolated effects but through interdependent systems, reinforcing the idea that improving one aspect of health inevitably uplifts others. The practical implications for public health are significant. Fertility rates are declining in many parts of the world, and lifestyle-related erectile dysfunction is increasingly common. While medical interventions such as assisted reproductive technologies and pharmacological treatments have their place, preventive and nutritional strategies remain underutilized. Encouraging the population to adopt dietary patterns rich in plant-based sources like nuts could alleviate part of this burden, reducing dependency on medications and improving quality of life in a natural, sustainable way. From a cost-effectiveness perspective, few interventions offer such wide-ranging benefits for such minimal effort. Ultimately, the relationship between diet and reproductive vitality exemplifies a broader truth: the body thrives when nourished by nature's diversity. Each nutrient acts as a note in a greater harmony, and when the composition is balanced, health expresses itself through energy, resilience, and reproductive capacity. The evidence surrounding nuts illustrates this harmony in action. They supply the raw materials for hormones, the antioxidants that guard cellular life, and the compounds that maintain vascular flow, very foundations of fertility and sexual function. In conclusion, the idea that something as small as a nut could influence something as profound as human fertility may seem almost symbolic, yet symbolism and science converge here with remarkable alignment. Decades of nutritional and clinical research now suggest that the foods we choose each day shape not only our longevity but also our generative potential, the ability to create and sustain life. Among these foods, nuts occupy a distinctive place: compact, potent, and versatile. When consumed daily in moderation, they support the biological processes that underpin vitality in both sexes, enhancing sperm quality, improving blood flow, stabilizing hormones, and protecting cells from damage. They remind us that health is not built in laboratories or clinics alone, but cultivated at the most ordinary moments at the table, in the small choices we make, in the handful of nourishment we give ourselves every day. By embracing that truth, we rediscover a simple yet profound principle: the path to stronger fertility, better sexual performance, and enduring health often begins with the smallest of changes, one handful at a time.